everyone, it's Katie here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create this throw pillow case. Now this fits a throw pillow that is 12 by 16 inches, and you can see it has an opening here so you can slide the pillow in and out easily. Throughout this tutorial, I will tell you guys how many rows I do, but I'm also going to give you the measurements for how long it should be when you get to certain spots. That way, if you guys are using yarn that's thinner or thicker than this, you'll know where you should stop. The materials that I use for this are this Burnett Pop bulky yarn. And now this yarn is pretty thick compared to other yarns, so that's why it's super important for you guys to pay attention to the measurements that I give you throughout this video. That way your throw pillow turns out to be the right size, because if you only do 19 rows like I do and you use a yarn that's much thinner, it'll be too small. I did find this yarn in Tuesday Morning for $5, but I did have to buy more of it to create a second one because they only had 2 left at Tuesday Morning. So this is available on the Yarnspiration website. I'll leave a link in the description for this. And if you are going to create a throw pillow with this exact yarn, you will need 2 balls of yarn. You'll only really use 1 ball of yarn and a tiny bit of the second one. I use this hook, which is a P16 11.5 millimeters. So this will also be linked in the description. And finally, the last couple things you'll need are scissors and a yarn needle. For this project, I suggest a yarn needle with a wider hole because this yarn is chunkier. So with all that said, I just wanted to remind you guys there will be links in the description for how to do each stitch I mention in this video, and there will also be links for all the materials that I used. So with all that said, let's get started. To start out, we're pulling the yarn from the middle of the ball, and then we're going to create a slip knot. To do this, you'll wrap the yarn around 2 fingers and then pull up through the bottom. And I'll show you that one more time. Wrap the yarn around 2 fingers, make an X shape, and then pull up. Now that we have that, you can pull on the end to make it tighter, and then we're going to grab our crochet hook and insert it in the loop. And now we're starting the foundation row of chains, so you're going to yarn over and pull through, just like I'm doing here. Yarn over and pull through, and you're going to do that 42 times, or until this foundation row is roughly 24.5 inches. That's when you'll stop, and I'll see you back here. Now that we're at the end of the foundation row, we're going to start the first row. So for this first row, you're going to start with yarning over and skipping the first 2 stitches and working into that 3rd chain, and you're going to do a double crochet. Now a double crochet is yarning over. So you're going to insert into the next stitch and then pull up a loop, and then yarn over again, pull through 2, yarn over again, pull through 2, and you're going to do that in all of the rest of the chains for this row. And once we get to the end of the row, I'll see you back here. We're now at the end of row 1, so I'm going to do the last double crochet into this chain. And now I'm going to chain 1 and turn the project. So now we're going to do half double crochets. So I'm yarning over, inserting my hook under that first stitch and pulling up a loop, yarning over again, and then pulling through all 3 of the loops that are on my hook. So that completes the first half double crochet, and now I'm just repeating the same thing, yarning over, inserting, pulling up a loop, yarning over again, and pulling through all 3 of the loops. And now we're going to do this for all the rest of the stitches, and I'll see you at the end of this row. We're now doing the last half double crochet at the end of row 2, and we're going to chain 2 at the end and then turn. So to start row 3, you're going to yarn over and insert into that first stitch, and then pull up a loop and yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2 more, the same way you did in the first row. And once you're at the end of this row, you're going to chain 1, turn, and do 40 half double crochets, and then at the end of that row, you're going to chain 2, turn, and do 40 double crochets, and repeat this until you get to row 19, or until it is about 16 inches. So at this point, I've run out of yarn in my ball, so I'm going to show you how to incorporate a new ball of yarn. So using the yarn that you still have, you're going to yarn over and insert your hook. But instead of yarning over with that same yarn, you're going to take the yarn from the new ball and make a loop with your fingers, but not a slip knot. And then you're going to use that yarn to complete the stitch you're doing. And then pull through, yarn over again and pull through. And since I was working on half double crochets, I just complete the half double crochet, and you can continue on as normal. And once I've done a few stitches, I tie the 2 ends together just to make sure it's secure, and at the end of the project we'll weave in the ends, that way it's extra secure. But now you can continue working, and I'll see you at the end of row 19. So now I'm at the end of row 19. I'm going to do the last 2 double crochets. And once you've done this, do not finish off or cut the yarn. I'll show you what to do in just a moment. So now that we're completing that final double crochet, you're going to just set it down and grab your yarn needle. And I'm using this yarn needle since it has a bigger eye and this yarn is chunky. We're going to insert the yarn into the eye of the needle and then tie a knot. And now this next part is just like sewing if you've ever done it before, but if not, you're just going to take the needle and thread it through, and with the multicolored yarn you want to make sure that you do it in the parts that match the yarn. So my ends are white, so I'm staying in the white parts of the pillowcase, and you just thread all the leftover yarn through, and you want to make sure that you go forward and then back as well. This makes it to where you can wash the pillowcase later on. So now I'm going back and threading through a couple stitches. So once I've done that a couple times, I'm just taking my scissors and cutting off the excess, being very careful not to cut the actual pillowcase. And after that, you want to weave in all the rest of your ends the same way, and then we will move on. So at this point, the yarn is still attached, and we're going to fold over the edge And if yours doesn't line up perfectly like mine, you might have to stretch it a little bit. But it should measure to be about 12¼ inches now that we've folded it. So at this point, I'm just coming in and making sure it's a good size for the throw pillow, which it is. So I put that off to the side, and now we're going to start stitching the edges. So now it's a little bit difficult to see from this angle, but where the yarn left off, I'm just inserting my hook again. And then I'm going to go along the two sides. So starting out with the side that's the longest, leaving that small side open. I'm going to go through all 4 loops, so the 2 loops of one side of the pillowcase and the 2 loops of the other side, and I'm going to do single crochets all the way across. So now here's a close-up of what I'm doing. I insert under 2 stitches on each side, so under 4 stitches, pull up a loop, and then yarn over again and pull through. So now you're going to do this over again for this whole side. And then once you get to the corner, you're going to continue on until you get to the end of the pillowcase. And then we'll come back to the side that's open after that. So now I've made it to the corner, and I'm just continuing the same process along this last side. So now I'm at the end, and I'm just doing this last single crochet, and then I'm pulling the yarn a little bit up, and I'm going to cut off the end, and then pull through the yarn to fasten it off. You're going to need to weave in this end. So now this next part is completely optional. If you're fine with this side being completely open, then you can leave it that way, but I chose to add 4 single crochets on the ends of the opening. To do this, I'm making a slip knot, and then I'm putting that inside the project and using that to create 4 single crochets on the side. So now that I have that, I'm just weaving in the ends with my fingers this time. And now I'm doing that same process with the other side, making a slip knot, inserting it in the project, and then using that to make 4 more single crochets on the side. And I just do this to make sure that the pillow doesn't slide out easily. And once you've done this and weaved in the end, then your pillowcase will be complete. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did create this throw pillowcase, please tag me on social media because I'd love to see your creations. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below, or you can reach out to me through my social medias. All of them are at Katie Being Creative and linked in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, that way I know. If you did enjoy, please subscribe and turn on post notifications, that way you'll be notified every time I upload a video. And with all that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!